Hey, it's me, Hrishikesh Kannan, popularly known as Hrishi K. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell icon now to get the latest videos and get taken into a world of entertainment, culture, sport, business and current affairs.
She was drawn to it. Honestly, when we met her, she really impressed us with her knowledge of the book, her love of the book, and just she understood. She understood the whole thing. She understood Pinky Madam. She understood the book, the context of the book, and we could see that this was someone who was approaching this as an actor. I think that was very important for us, and that was how she was approaching it. I mean, when you look back, I was laughing, and I was telling her or someone that I can't imagine anyone else anyway.
Mukul Deora, wonderful to see you and many congratulations. I mean, this, for all practical purposes, Bud is the biggest movie on the planet right now. Asking you a tame question like how does it feel is something I'm not going to indulge in. But, you know, when you think back to when this journey first started to where you've progressed, do you feel you've climbed a mountain apart from busting an arm? I just saw a picture on social media.
That's true. I did bust an arm on the first week of shoot. That was like, man, of all the times. Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like I've climbed a mountain, honestly, because along with being busy, talking to so many people who've loved it, and the last week has just been amazing. People from all over the world saying how much they loved it. I'm just working on my other stuff as well. So the mountains are continuing to be there. You started as the first peak of Everest. There are many more mountains, but yes, it has been. I mean, like it because you know me from before, and all my friends me, and they all are like, I don't live in the past, so I don't really think about, it's taken so long, kind of thing. I'm just in the present, pushing and making it happen, just being there, but yeah, if you look back, you have to be crazy. I mean, honestly, so many people told me along the way that, why are you doing it? Why are you wasting your time? Is this a good story? Who's going to be interested in this story? I think so many people felt that there's no way this kind of story, and you know what I mean, would have these kind of wings. Number one in the world. I mean, yeah. So I mean that there is some vindication in that I'm not crazy, and something that I believed in and worked on for all these years through pretty much insurmountable odds actually had some value. Yeah.
I want to start with the music, Mukul, only because I know that's a core passion area for you, man. Anybody who knows you knows that, you've been a DJ, music producer, you've gone on to do greater things, but at the core of you, and I see that acoustic at the back, I know it's a passion point still. And, it's stunning, the BGM, the background music to this, man. I mean, as an audio guy, I'm always looking for the audio cues. I mean, what Danny and Saunders have done, Jungle Hai, the Divine and Karan Kanchan track. I want you to just spend some time on the music and not just the track, but also just the original motion picture soundtrack, man.
Right. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I mean, how, as the movie was shaping up, how do we... about the soundtrack itself, Ramin and me, we had a lot of chats about how, where we wanted to go without it being overtly exotic. That can happen in a lot of these things, especially, where you have an Eastern, Western mix of things. You
Lots
know
of
what I mean?
sitar.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Anushka Shankar gets called a lot for that. No disrespect to her. She's a lovely gal, but just saying.
So, yeah, exactly. So we were, very clear that even the story we're telling is something real and authentic. And I've always told people this. People have asked me even about my music. People have asked me, it doesn't sound Indian. So I was like, that's because I'm from Bombay. When you live in Mumbai, and you walk around on the road, you don't hear Indian classical music. You hear noise and cars and an industrial landscape. So you really wanted it to, be evocative of that kind of feeling of the movie and the humor that it starts with, but then the dread and the pain that the protagonist goes through his whole journey, with elements of India. Of course, they're there, from the iconic Punjabi MC song that we put in the beginning, recognizable, the Jay-Z remix, recognizable to people all over the world. We wanted something that was kind of in the hip hop space, but that people in India and in the world would just hear and say yes, which was not easy, because there are not many tracks like that actually that in that era of 2010, because as you know better than anyone, hip hop wasn't big in India in those days. So you had
Correct.
like, when I was talking to Ramin and everyone, I was like, in those days it was like Venga Boys and Aqua or something that was big in India. Because there was no internet as well. You know, you're not going to get Kanye wasn't there and all that stuff. So I was like, we don't want that. So this was the only song that I could think of really that bridged that gap. Same with Divine. You know, I mean, I'm so happy about the hip hop scene that's happened in India in the last few years because India always deserved it. You know, my first album from 2006 was kind of hip hop as well, but these guys have done an amazing job of, you know, everything. And what's so beautiful about hip hop is it's the underdog coming up, and we needed something coming from that area in India. So I mean, Ramin and me we both love hip hop, so we had a lot of conversations about how can we um, you know, make a collaboration like the movie, a real collaboration where you get some of India's best talent and you know, make them work with, you know, Pusha T, Vince Staples, incredible rappers in America. And we got this track going, Jungle Mantra, inspired by the movie. If you hear the lyrics, you know that it's very closely linked, you know, to running a rumbling in the jungle, basically, which is what our protagonist Balram does.
Yeah, and Vivian's a good boy. He's a sharp boy, Divine.
Yeah,
He gets it, you know. So really, the ideal choice. There are lots of rappers you could have gone to, but
right.
for this kind of milieu, you know, you just know that Mukul Deora is involved in this because you know the scene, man. You've been there at the inception of it. Um, Ramin and Arvind were in Colombia together. And you know that sounds like a very Guru Dutt and Devanand kind of story.
Right.
You know, you're in college together and say, man, one day when you make a movie, you know, I'll be involved and things like that. At what point did you come in? Is what I want to know.
So I mean, they were in college and they known each other forever, but uh, and they were still friends. But I had the right, so that was a separate thing. So there were two separate trains running, which then met 3 4 years ago. Which is that me loving this book and trying to, you know, get the rights, which was a very complex process, which I won't get into, and making sure that I was like a shepherd. Honestly, I was like holding on to this amazing story and just trying my best to find the best way to tell it with the right team and the right platform. You know, it was very important, all these things, because I mean, it could have gone wrong. You know how it is. It could have gone wrong in 1,000 ways. And there were 1,000 ways where it almost went wrong. Uh, and, you know, luckily with luck and blood, sweat, and tears, like you said, is exactly what it was. There was a lot of blood, a lot of sweat, and a lot of tears. Uh, so I reached a point where I had the rights myself, and you know, all I wanted was make the best movie possible. And then I met Ramin, and it's like you meet this guy. You know, by then I'd become an authority on the book. For better or worse, I knew the book backwards. You know, Ramin always laughs and tells people that Mukul knows the book better than anyone else, and I laugh and say yes, but you read drafts of the book. So touche, you know what I mean? So it was really like, wow, you know, like both of us were like, okay, these guys know these things. And the book is dedicated to him. The first page of the book says to Ramin Bahrani. So like, how am I going to argue with that kind of situation? And of course, then you knew then that he was friends with Arvind and everything. And that's how it came together, basically.
And I'm always happy when I see Nakul Kante doing some sound design. Giant of a man, great heart, and again, you know, the sound design of it is just super stuff. Now, obviously, Ramin's going to put together a team, and he's going to look to you and say, you know, who are the go-to people, especially as far as India is concerned. So I'm always curious to know. I know that Tess was involved with the casting, but as far as getting Nakul on board, Tia on board, for example, what a great job she's done with the production design.
Yes,
you know, every inch is so, it just pops out of the frame, man. So those were your decisions, mutual decision. Where did those decisions come from?
Right. Yeah, it's an interesting point, which I was talking to someone about it a few days ago, and it's actually so obvious that if I'm making a movie in Bolivia, I just say Bolivia because I read it was #1 in Bolivia, and I was like #1 in Bolivia, so that name is in my head. You know what I mean? I was like, if I'm making a movie in Bolivia, I would find who the best people are there. You know, it's a normal thing, but unfortunately, very often in these kind of international movies where the producer is not Indian as well, the whole team, the top team is not Indian, so they naturally go to the people who they know well, and they may get someone here and there, but it's, you know, it's who you're comfortable with. And since I was here, And Ramin, I mean, we had a lot of discussion about it, and we both knew that we wanted to tap into as much of the immense local talent as much as we could. So um, we got Tia. She worked with Chad Keith, who was the production designer from America as well, and they worked together to an amazing job. There was a girl called Yasmin with her as well, three of them together, and you can see it in every frame. Um, I mean, Nakul is a legend. You know what I mean? So, I mean, we were clear, and I mean, it's so noisy in India. So you have to have someone who has the sensibility to get the dialogue right. No dubbing as they do in a lot of Indian movies, but who understands how to manage the situation, the environment. And Nakul is the man. I mean, he's the legend. So I had heard of him from before. So he was busy doing something. I forgot what, but he was busy doing something. And we just was like, it's Nakul or nobody else. So Ramin and me were just like, we called him up, and then we knew people who knew him. We had to like sit on his head. And of course, he wanted to do it. He loved the book, but there was some scheduling conflict. We ironed out the scheduling conflict, yanked him over, and there you go.
Super stuff. And this boy Adarsh Gourav, man, he's something else. And in a sense, when you have these guys coming from small town India and then they assimilated into Mumbai culture or Bombay culture, it's just such a wonderful mix, isn't it?
It's amazing, yeah.
And you see that in all three of them. You see that in Raj, who comes in here from Gurgaon, PC, who's lived pretty much in every corner of India and come here, and Adarsh, who came in here and who's made a life for himself. So that must have been so interesting for you. That background. Actors are what they've lived, right?
That's very perceptive of you, honestly, because an important thing with this movie is that it's like a family. It's a family tree. What is the movie? Adarsh is their family. He's like the child, in some way. Like, you're my father, mother. They're the parents, the grandfather, who is the mongoose, and the chacha or the tau, who's the stock. I mean, the mongoose and the stock, So it was like a family tree that we had to put together, where everyone had to match the other one. They weren't in isolation. But at the same time, Adarsh, Rajkumar, and Priyanka. So their characters. Pinky Madam was an Indian that we know, who's not really lived in India, doesn't really know much about India, comes from abroad, has her views from abroad. Rajkumar is another Indian. I mean, Ashok is another Indian that we know, who is from India but has gone then, has come back, has mixed accent, has different thoughts, thinking of various things. And Adarsh is another Indian that we know as well, who's from India, who's trying to come up. Balram is another Indian from India. So really making sure that all these three Indias that everyone who watches the movie knows well, are represented properly in the way they look, in the way they talk, their language, their accents, to make sure that it's kind of spot on. And of course, getting these three incredible actors to play them. I think that was a challenge and a lot of fun. And I think it's great that we, when we met Adarsh on the auditions, when he came in, I mean, Ramin and me spoke about it, and we both said that this is the first person we've seen, because we auditioned a lot of people for Balram. It's the role of a lifetime, for one. And Adarsh was the first person we saw, we felt was Balram. We're like, that's Balram. There's no actor trying to act as Balram. That's Balram. And then it became much easier for us. Once you got the pivot, which is Balram, then you can say, okay, who's going to be his, boss? Who's going to be his boss's wife? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Why do you call your production company Lava, Mukul? Just curious to know. I love the name. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just asking.
You're just looking. I mean, what's the answer to that? You're looking for a nice name. I just like the word. For me, words have their own symbolism, which is different from what they mean to you intellectually. And I just like how LAVA looks. Lava is a beautiful word. People ask me, is it LARVA, lava? And I'm like, no, that would be a different kind of thing. And it's just flow, going with the flow, basically. I think that was my thought behind it.
And you look at an accomplished filmmaker like the lovely Meera Nair. She's made a career out of taking novellas and creating just great screenplays and then making great movies out of it. And she's very open about it, saying, I love that process because I get to hang with the author as well as the screenplay writer. And for me as a movie maker, that's very exciting. Lava's focus, will it be this, which is take an interesting novella, take a book already, a fiction or otherwise, and then make cinema out of it? Or are you just going to keep a total open mind?
It's a mix. Lava's aim is really to find, for us, it's all about a story. It's about a compelling story. And The White Tiger is an amazing example of that. You just find any story, whether it's based on a book, it's set in India, it's set anywhere in the world, just a compelling story that you feel will resonate with the world. Firstly, it has to resonate with you. You really have to believe. I mean, for me, it's really like this. If I read something and I can't get it out of my head, then there's some, I just come back to it. What is that thing? What is that thing? Why can't I get it out of my head? Like a song. Why can't you get it out of your head? And then you go into it. Why? What is it about it? Can I do something about it? What is happening? You make some phone calls, send some emails out. Is it available? And of course, you have to think, it's a mix about being a creative person where you resonate with this, some universal story, but also about understanding as a producer, does this have wings, to fly or not? Like, is this something not just that I love, but that the world will love? And that's what we're trying to do with Lava, basically, just make incredible stories. Yeah, and I don't want to tell you right now, but in the next month, I'll tell you, I'm very excited about the next things that we're doing as well. There, one of them especially, I think everyone in India will. The first thing you'll say is, "Why did no one make it before?" And it's compelling, and it's going to be hardcore.
Super
like
stuff.
this book, like hard. I like those things which you can't stop watching. You know what I mean? Like, boom.
I like the sound of that. Now, it's a well-documented fact. I mean, Priyanka Chopra's PC's gone to enough journalists and said this, that she wanted to be involved in this film. And that must have been a bit of a nice one, their PC calling. And I don't mean it from a female attention point of view. I mean, Mukul Deora was one of the most eligible bachelors in this country. You're no stranger to female attention, though you're married, settled, father now. But just saying, a global superstar calling you saying, man, I want to be involved, getting Ramin involved. It just shows that if she really wants something, she goes out there, and she's also compassionate enough to find ways to do it. But that phase when she wanted to be involved, what were you thinking?
Absolutely, you're right. That was an interesting time. We were putting jigsaw, like I said, we were putting the family together. You're just creating this imaginary family that it can't be some movie where you have an older guy playing a 20-year-old, all that stuff. It has to be a Kadak family that looks like a real thing, So you're just, you're playing around a little bit. You have some options, and you're rotating the options and seeing what works, what doesn't work. Availability of people, it's a whole mix of things. Everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. And yes, then we get these calls, that Priyanka's interested in. And I mean, we all are like, wow, Priyanka's interested. That's great. And I mean, for us, the role was very important. It's all about the story again. It's that person, whoever it is, has to fit with our view of Pinky Madam, whoever they may be. And Priyanka fully understood that. She understood, and that's why she wanted to be in it. She wanted to be in it because she knew this is the kind of project where, she's part of this overall thing, which is an incredible story, not just by being a star, but by being an actor. She was drawn to it. Honestly, when we met her, she really impressed us with her knowledge of the book, her love of the book, and just she understood the whole thing. She understood Pinky Madam. She understood the book, the context of the book, and we could see that this was someone who was approaching this as an actor. I think that was very important for us, and that was how she was approaching it. I mean, when you look back, I was laughing, and I think I was telling her or someone that I can't imagine anyone else anyway, but. You know how it is in the beginning. You have an open mind. For me at least, as a creative person, even for Balram's role, you know what I mean. To get a fresh face there. Not many Indian producers would be okay. Let's get a fresh face when you can get anyone, pretty much in the world to do it. But I think when you love a story, then you look at it in that way. You look at it from a very open viewpoint about what really works for the story, and then you add things to it, as opposed to say, चलो बड़ा स्टार है डालेंगे उसमें, ठीक है कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, वो तो डालेंगे ही, that's the normal thing. But that's not how we approach it, and that's not how Priyanka approached it as well. And I think that really worked well for all of us. And she's been amazing. She's done such a good job for the movie. I know she tells everyone that she auditioned for it. She mustn't have auditioned in decades for anything. I mean, she would snap her fingers and get it, and that is true. She did audition for it, and she blew all of us away with her audition. You know what I mean? So there you go.
You know, I've just got to say this. I mean, your late father is such a great man. I had the good fortune of meeting him on a few occasions. I mean, he would be so proud today because, you know, it's just, you started from scratch. You had no help at all. It's an alien business. And, you know, look at the road you've traveled. You want to dedicate this to some people? I mean, apart from your cast and other people, I mean, there's got to be people who are in your system, man, who made this happen somehow.
I mean, that's true. You know, when the movie finished shooting, it was in Delhi. You know, everyone, for me, Delhi was my dad. It was memories of my dad. And it was a very interesting, emotional time for me when the movie finished. And, you know, normally you're ready to go and everyone finished. But I just stayed in Delhi for a few more days. And I remember my wife is from Delhi and she had come at that point, you know, with our kids and we were hanging out and all. And I was like, I don't want to leave Delhi yet. And she's like, why don't you want to leave Delhi yet? And I'm like, I just don't want to leave Delhi. And I used to just drive around Delhi and, you know, drive past my dad's old government house. And I realized I was just missing him and Delhi very much. And it's so interesting how these things are, you know, how you make something and it has these funny vibrations, you know. Yeah.
That's
but of course, who I would dedicate it to is, I mean, everyone, you know, it's hundreds of people come together to do everything. The technicians, the junior actors, the extras, everyone who put any time into it. I mean, you can't do it without teamwork. The beauty about a movie is, compared to music, which you can do a lot by yourself, you can pretty much make an album by yourself today. I'm sitting in my studio, actually. You can't see it, but I'm in my studio, working on my next album, by the way. That's another story. But a film is a collaborative medium, and for me that was a very important thing to make it a collaboration between, you know, like me and other filmmakers, but also between India and, you know, and another country, which in this case is America. Ramin is Iranian American. Just getting the best of the whole world, getting Netflix on board as well. You know, amazing partner, amazing distribution company, amazing, honestly, in every way, and just making sure that collaboration works together. You know, that was really my goal, and I'm very happy that happened.
Fingers crossed. You've made us proud. Make us further proud. Pick up an Oscar or two or three, and then come back and do another interview.
we're working hard, and all our fingers are crossed on that. You know that 9 Indian cast and crew members are eligible for nominations this year, which is unprecedented, and I hope some people manage to get something, you know. Yeah.
You're a good man. Cheers. Thanks for this, and have a safe and healthy time, man. And love to.
I can see that your new studio is at home. Yes.
Not complaining.
Yeah, it's the best.
2 hours up, 2 hours down, from Parel up and down. So yeah, happy and comfortable, and happy to be able to talk to you. Cheers, man.
Roll out of bed and do an interview.
Literally.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Mukul. Thank you.